Hello everyone and welcome back to your favorite channel for all things NBA. We here at Latest Hoops love a good trade as much as the next NBA fan does. So you can imagine how excited we are that we're moving towards the business end of trade season. The March 25th trade deadline is fast approaching and many teams in the NBA will be hopeful of changing their fortunes with the right move in the upcoming weeks. One such team is the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors have managed to remain competitive in the Western Conference thanks mostly to the 30 points per game Steph Curry is putting up. Their roster is full of young talent and could well be awkward opponents come the playoffs if they grab a lower seed. However, the right trade could see them become much more than that. Several stars around the NBA are rumored to be available for trade, and some aren't but should be. Latest Hoops feels duty-bound to tell you which of those stars may make their way to the Warriors in the coming weeks and why we think they're a good fit for the franchise. We're going to give all the latest speculation on who might join Steph Curry and company. But first, we've got something extra for all our subscribers because we're in a giving mood. We're giving one lucky subscriber the chance to win a PS5 with NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21. Want to know how you could win? Well, it's easy. You just subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for Latest Hoops. Once that's done, like this video and leave a comment saying who you'd most like to see end up on the Warriors roster from the players we cover. And then you're done. Pretty easy, huh? Now let's get to those potential trades so you have something to comment on. James Harden. Boom, straight out the gates with a wild one, but hear us out. James Harden left the Houston Rockets because he could see the team wasn't good enough to contend.
We're just not good enough. We don't obviously chemistry, talent-wise, just everything, and it was clear. Like I said, these last few games.
He didn't want to be there, and so off he went to team up with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. That experiment isn't going as well as expected. The three stars look unstoppable on some nights, but then lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Washington Wizards on other nights. They are also shockingly bad defensively, something that will make it mighty hard for them to win a championship later this year. We spoke previously about Kyrie Irving potentially jumping ship for the Lakers. However, the only one of the three without a ring and therefore the most eager to leave might well be James Harden. If Harden can see the Nets aren't going to be real contenders to the extent everyone thought, the former MVP may cast his eye around the league and see if he can latch on to a team that could be. The Golden State Warriors are definitely that team. They're an organization that knows how to win rings, have a pretty decent roster, and the players available to make the trade for Harden relatively easily. In fact, the trade addresses a lot of issues for the Nets and gives Harden a legitimate chance at a ring on a super team that knows how to win them. The potential trade would involve the Golden State Warriors sending Draymond Green and Kelly Oubre Jr. to the Brooklyn Nets in return for James Harden. They would also have to throw in a couple of first-round picks, which is fine because they have young talent on the roster, and trading for Harden would mean they become contenders again for the foreseeable future. For the Nets, this is an opportunity to get back some of the future they mortgaged when they traded for Harden. The Nets have thrown away years of draft picks before in the hopes of building a dynasty super team, and it went horribly wrong. They won't want to do the same again, and this trade with the Warriors represents a way out for them if it becomes clear the three-headed Hydra experiment isn't working. Another positive for Brooklyn is the addition of Draymond Green. Green is an elite defender capable of guarding all 5 positions on a basketball court. He is also tough, hard-nosed, and gritty and will bring much-needed competitive fire to a currently flashy but not fearsome Nets roster. The addition should result in a marked improvement on the defensive end for the Nets, something they desperately need if they want to become a legitimate contender for the championship this season. They also get a nice role player in Kelly Oubre Jr. who will go some way to restoring the depleted roster left in the wake of the deal for Harden. Overall, this trade makes quite a lot of sense for Brooklyn. Kyrie and KD have more than enough offensively to make the Nets a top team in the East, and adding Draymond should mean they are at least competent defensively. As for the Warriors, the addition of Harden pushes them from playoff hopefuls to championship hopefuls almost instantly. Many expected the Warriors to struggle immensely again this season without all-star guard Klay Thompson. However, the team has fared admirably despite losing Thompson to a torn Achilles in preseason. Their roster is surprisingly deep with players like Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and Eric Paschall contributing solidly throughout the season so far. If the Warriors were able to add Harden and Thompson were to return in time for the playoffs, the Warriors would be a threat to anyone and everyone. There may well be concerns about how Harden would fit into the selfless system the Warriors employ. However, those same concerns existed when Durant joined and the Warriors went on to win 2 championships with the help of the former MVP. We see no reason why they couldn't do the same with James Harden. Harden isn't the only star who could steer the Warriors back to the top of the West, though. Bradley Beal offers them a similar skill set and similar potential to dominate teams offensively. He is also younger than Harden and far more comfortable playing off the ball than the bearded Burger King baller is. We've done a video covering a potential trade involving Beal and the Warriors, so we won't go into too much detail here, but we will give you a general idea of why it works. The Washington Wizards are abysmal, having failed yet again to patch together an average roster with the hopes of being competitive in a weak Eastern Conference. Their attempts haven't worked, and it's time they blew things up properly and started over. Westbrook is too difficult to move, and Beal is by far the more attractive carrot to dangle for teams around the league. Working in the Warriors' favor in terms of getting the deal done is the availability of Draymond Green. The Wizards, like the Nets, are terribly defensively. However, unlike the Nets, Washington has a good nucleus of young players still intact and ready to learn from a hardened veteran of the league. Veterans don't come much harder or more experienced than Draymond Green, who has been to 5 NBA Finals and won 3 championships in his time with the Warriors. However, the Warriors would likely prefer to be out from under Green's contract, seeing as he is getting on a bit. The Wizards could justify the contract on the basis that A, it saves them money in comparison to Bradley Beal's deal, and B, Green will have an immense impact as a tutor and role model for the young players currently on the roster, in particular young Wizards power forward Rui Hachimura. The Wizards would also get draft picks in the deal, allowing them more opportunities to find a new star to build the franchise around while they swallow the remainder of Westbrook and Green's contracts. There's more to the trade, and our video covering the topic is definitely a must-watch. But Beal isn't the only player who could find himself on the Warriors roster in the coming weeks. The Boston Celtics have 2 elite guards who the Warriors may well be able to pry free in the hopes of pushing themselves into contention out west. Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker are both elite guards in the league worthy of max contracts. Interestingly, Kemba Walker already has his deal but has struggled to live up to the price tag in recent months after a few injury struggles. We count ourselves among those who think the Celtics may move on from their star guard in coming months. However, it is also entirely possible the Celtics choose to decline to offer Smart max money and let him be traded instead. The Warriors would likely prefer to get Marcus Smart after having tried and failed to land the Celtics guard previously. He comes with a more manageable price tag in the short term, and the defensive abilities to make an instant impact on the end of the floor the Warriors will need him most once Klay Thompson returns. Pairing Smart with Klay Thompson makes for an elite perimeter defense for the Warriors. It is also an offensive upgrade in the backcourt as Smart is a more than capable scorer and passer. Kemba Walker is equally talented but is owed $34 million a year at least for the next 4 years. That kind of contract isn't the one the Warriors will take on unless they believe they are getting all-star level Kemba Walker, who hasn't been seen for some months now. In terms of a trade package, for Marcus Smart, a straight swap for Kelly Oubre Jr. coupled with some draft picks should get the job done. Although the Celtics may prefer to take on Draymond Green given their need for an interior presence and the hole Smart will leave defensively if he goes. As for Walker, the trade would likely need to involve both Draymond Green and Kelly Oubre Jr. Either trade upgrades the Warriors overall and allows the Celtics to have another go at unearthing a gem in the draft, something Celtics general manager Danny Ainge loves to do. Both Celtics guards are worthy of max money, but Boston will only be willing to keep one on the books. Who they decide to move and when they decide to do it is definitely a story worth following. As far as we're concerned, we think one will be moved this season, and we think a logical destination for either of them would be the Golden State Warriors. This is especially true given the Celtics will surely be keen to make sure neither guard ends up on a rival in the Eastern Conference. The Warriors could move for any number of players in the league who feel they might be the third big piece they need to push them back into contention. The 4 we've named here are the most promising of the bunch, but there are certainly others out there. If the Warriors pull the trigger on any of them, you can be sure we'll cover it here. Latest Hoops always has you covered, and there's no better place to go for must-see NBA content than right here. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want a chance to win those awesome prizes we mentioned at the start of the video. Also, be sure to turn on notifications for our channel so you're the first to see our latest videos as they drop. Thank you so much for listening, Hoops fans, and we'll see you again soon with more hot trade takes, news from around the league, and player reactions as the madness unfolds here on Latest Hoops. I'll catch you guys in the next one.